Hey guys, this is Kris Jones for episode 23 of Ask Me Anything. Today I'm hoping that I could get your interaction. It's a topic that I've wanted to bring up. I don't want to assume it's an easy topic for you to confront, because it certainly wasn't for me, but I could tell you that me taking this topic on in my life has made an extraordinary difference. So I don't purport to be able to sit here with you today and think that I'm going to help you redefine that single thing that I think has probably kept you from getting what you want, whether or not you realize it. I don't purport to be able to sit here today and give you a solution. However, I am going to reflect with you and share with you sort of the process that I went through personally to deal with that thing. And what is that thing? What is that one thing that stops us from taking the first step in life? What's that thing that when we see someone from across the room and they make our heart start pounding, we don't know why, but what is it that stops us from going up to that person? You see a job opportunity. You see something that needs to be addressed, but you just don't take action. My friends, fear is the antithesis of what I want you to get from these AMA videos. It's the antithesis of progress and growth and success. But it's not something that we talk about a lot because it's extraordinarily uncomfortable. It's very unsettling and it's very complex. So when I talk about fear, this thing that stops us from taking action towards the things that we want in life, what are some of the most popular fears? I can tell you from my own life that I've dealt with over the last 20 years of my mostly adult life here is fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of disappointment. So here's the thing. We all experience fear. Fear is a human condition. But the question is how we deal with it, right? And even more importantly, how you could learn how to leverage fear to your advantage. So in other words, instead of fear being the reason why you didn't take the first step, it's the reason why you do. So let's just start with the definition of fear. The definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat. So note that it's a belief, not a reality. And most of the time, the fear is never realized. But we magnify it in our brains, we experience it viscerally, emotionally, and we blow it up so we never take action. If you're watching this right now, jot down some of the things that you haven't been able to achieve in your life or accomplish or experience because of fear. I could tell you, if I wrote a list, it would be long. It wouldn't be as long as it was 5 years ago because I've learned how to confront it and leverage it to my advantage. But I bet you, if you take the time right now to write down some of the things that you haven't been able to get or experience, because of it, it's a pretty long list. But remember, I'm trying to help you think through how you could leverage it. I don't think reasonable minds can differ. In almost every case, fear is overblown. It's not real. The only thing that's real is when something happens. And then when something happens, we all know this, we've talked about it in former AMAs, and we just know that when something happens, what really matters isn't what happens, but how you deal with it. So you're already well equipped, should your worst fear materialize, to deal with it. We know that. But it's not the actual occurrence of whatever it is that you fear. It's the buildup that's debilitating. And that's something that I want you to be aware of, and I want you to confront head on. If you have an enemy right now, it's probably fear. But imagine if it was your friend, which it is for me. So, as I mentioned, being overly, and I underline overly fearful, is terribly debilitating. It could be the number one reason that is stopping you from getting what you want, and we don't want that. So uncontrolled fear can result in you never taking the kinds of actions that are necessary for you to get what you want. And honestly, that's not what I want for you. That's not why I'm investing my time and my money in this series, this video series, is because I actually want you to get the opposite of what fear is giving you now. So what can you do? That's the real purpose of this video. The first purpose is for you to just come to Jesus with the fact that most of the time your fear is never realized. And that even if it is, which is a fraction of the time, I swear you have everything within you right now to deal with it, to pull yourself up, to maximize the outcome no matter what. So we know that. But so what can you do beyond that? Beyond that realization that it's overblown. And once you get control of this puppy, once you get control of fear, man, are you going to start achieving things that you never thought you could achieve. Because trust me, you have everything within you right now. You don't have to wait to confront fear and to leverage it. So what I did is, and what you could do is you start by redefining what fear means to you and leverage it to your advantage, not your detriment. So what the heck do I mean? Remember that the standard definition of fear is that it's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat. And this never materializes or almost never does. Let's agree on something right now. Fear is overrated. It's way overrated. We spend way too much time and energy focused on things that never materialize. Let's start focusing on things that do materialize. And so let's redefine it. For me, fear of failure and fear of disappointment were two things that for so many years in my life, you would never know it, became so debilitating. I think a lot of my achievement and my just willingness to just go above and beyond what typical people would was to avoid failure. But then I realized something. I said, imagine if failure wasn't an end or wasn't something to be avoided, but if it was something that was a beginning, and if it was of value. So you know what fear is to me? And those of you that know me well hear me say this sometimes. Sometimes I rant, and I don't want to rant in this video because I think this is a very sensitive topic. You know what fear is? Fear is an opportunity not to do something again that didn't work the first time. Give me more of those. I want more of those opportunities so that I could constantly become better and constantly improve. But if you're so fearful that you don't take action, you'll never have the outcome that gives you the lesson. So again, fear is an opportunity not to piss in the wind, not to do something again. Fear, this was for me in the redefining process of fear and embracing it. You're going to like this. You know what I think fear is? Failure is. Not fear, but failure. Failure is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn. It just is. Fear is not an endpoint. Fear is an opportunity to get back on course. And when I realized that failure, again, not fear, I mixed the two up, but it's fear of failure, fear of disappointment. But failure is an opportunity not to do something again or to change course, to get back on course. It's not some end point. the overblown reaction that we have in our brain before an outcome occurs is just ridiculous. It really is. We need to stop avoiding it and start embracing it as it relates to disappointment. So disappointment, here's the reality. I succeed most of the time. And so do you. In fact, you succeed such a disproportionate amount of time that the fear of disappointing someone is actually a ridiculous fear, number one. And number two, if you think about it, think about the people who love you most, that are around you most, that care about you most, and see the effort that you give when you take action, when you decide that you want something and you work towards it. You've got to be careful, because I promise you that as long as you do your best and you give your best effort, disappointment is actually an illusion. It only exists if you allow it to exist. Disappointment does not exist if to you what it means is that as long as you give your best effort, as long as you work as hard as you can, you won't disappoint anybody. And the people that you love and care about will always be there for you and will always be there to pick you up. So, I hope that you guys are able to reflect on what this means to you. What are some of the strategies that you've used to take that first step towards that man or woman that you see across the room who makes your heart start to race, maybe because they're beautiful or attractive, or maybe because you saw them interact with someone in a certain way and it just touched you? What gives you, how are you able to overcome that fear? How are you able to take that first step? How did you do it with a career change? How did you do it maybe to meet the person of your dreams that you're now with? If you guys could share some stories with me or share some insights on how you've confronted fear head on, how you've embraced it to become better, to get what you want, I want to hear that. I get that this is a difficult, uncomfortable topic, but you know what? At the end of the day, as we go through this video series and most of it's positive and here are the 2 or 3 or 4 steps that you could take to make more money or to grow your business. Those things are all great. But there's also some other realities, is that for those of you that actually take the first step, there are going to be people who fear overwhelms them and they can't overcome it. So I really think that this video might be one of the most important ones in the entire series to try to help that person, encourage them to take the first step. So please share with me your insights and your feedback. Fear, like I said earlier, is something that it's a human condition, and it's okay. It's how we deal with it, and whether or not we use it to our advantage or to our detriment. So I hope you guys found this, 5 or so minute video insightful, and I hope that you contribute some of your thoughts on it. Regardless, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in episode 24. Take care.